Good morning, guys. Welcome to this Monday, December 1st. Sound check, good. You can hear me. So we had a long weekend. Market was running up into this weekend in a pretty good way. We were, did make my ES chart bigger. We were looking at a pretty good move to the upside the last couple of days before that weekend. This is your Wednesday, this is your Thursday, and then we had a little baby session on Friday here, but short day in between. We also had a big hullabaloo at the CME on Thanksgiving going into Friday's trading. The whole exchange was down for a good overnight. Some data center problem, so it tells you that no one is immune for that stuff, and that's a pretty big deal, the CME goes down like that. So, but starting off, so this is leading up to the weekend and also the end of the month, right? So it's the end of the month of November, and now we're starting December 1st, and we are starting off a little bit of weakness overnight. They were backing off a little bit. I put on a few scalp trades last night. The market was moving pretty solidly to the downside and at a pretty good clip. So I figured that was a good shot. I know don't usually do that, but it's slow market like that. You can muddle around a little bit with it, but it's we are still holding at this area, the 6800s, and we're reverse retesting that area right now. We have a few levels here to lean against. Now, before I keep going on that stuff, the news this morning we have. At 9:45, we get PMI manufacturing, 10 we get ISM manufacturing and construction spending, and that's about it for today's trading. So on 9:45 and 10, nothing at 8:30. We on Tuesday, not much, pretty much no news on tomorrow. Wednesday, we get import-export prices, industrial production, PMI, composite, ISM services, index, and oil report. Where Thursday we get international trade jobless claims. Friday, personal income and out the consumer sentiment. We didn't get that, so that personal income number is going to come out on Friday. So that's going to be an inflation read coming our way. Yeah, so a little bit of news, but today a little bit, tomorrow nothing, and then a little bit later this week. So that's where we got something going. So as I said, it's getting started here. We had a nice little run up here, took out that 6,800. It looked to me like we had a pretty good move, pretty good opportunity to take this higher. Finally, about 6,800 again, and now we're back reverse retesting that area. So you can see how that overnight they reversed the Friday trading. They took out the Thanksgiving low, and then retracing the Wednesday trading all the way down here, almost down to that double edge BC. And I would not be surprised if they try to take it lower. So that's why I've been trading it from the short side in overnight and see how far they can take it. So right now I'm running into that support area, say around 6,800. So I would still look to buy against these areas, the 6810s, the 6800s, the 6795s for rotation sub. But if they take out that 6800, I'm going to be back on the short side and see how far they want to run this lower. And because it could be a couple of nice moves to take out that 67.95, 67.90 to 95. We may run it all the way down here to that 75s or even down to the 60s. So we have a couple of levels there and a little bit of range we can back off if the weakness persists. On the way up, looking for shorts against the 68.20, 68.30s, 68.45s. And if they take out that 68.45, so start trading above that area, I think we are in good shape to take this higher. I would start leaning towards long side at that point. So if they can get past this little the Thanksgiving little trade-off, basically the high off, you get above that high from Wednesday. Friday's trading, it's like a light volume kind of a day. I'm not going to pay too much attention to it, but Wednesday's trading going into the close here, we had a pretty good area of value building. And if they can take that out again by the 68.45s, I would be back. I would think long side of the market a little bit more aggressively. But right now, starting off range bound, looking for to buy early weakness still. I'm still looking, leaning towards the long side as long as I hold that 6,800 level. And we have this, the first area here, the 6,810 is where we are trading right now. 6,800, we haven't really tested more than once in the overnight. And then we need the 67.95 to hold, so 90 to 95 here. So that's how we get started on the ES. Overall, in the bigger picture, you can see here that that 6,800 level is the one which needs to hold if you're going to be able to hold, keep any momentum going here, or basically get a little Santa rally going, right? That's kind of what we're looking for. So we'll see if it's going to be like a cold in our stocking kind of a December or not. All right, so that's the ES, NASDAQ. And these screens are great. These are 4K screens, and it's so much more real estate on them. It's not even funny. It's great. So same story with Nasdaq. Nice run up here going into the overnight. Now Nasdaq is kind of not holding above the key area here, that 25,360s. Right now they're trading below it. Nasdaq is kind of in that a little bit in the twilight zone here. They're a little bit below it. So I would start off range bound on the Nasdaq. If they can get up above this area, the 25, 350 to 360, that volume edge, I would be more inclined to look for a little bit of strength. You can see this volume edge right here on the F4 as well. Or sorry, F2. It's pretty obvious right there at the 350, 360. If they can get up above that, then also that there will be the London high. I think we're in good shape to keep going higher and get back on the long side of this. I will give it a couple of levels higher. I would prefer to see them take out that 430s, but as I said, you see Friday's high here is around about that 370, 360, 360, 370. I did not put a level in between here. I wanted to capture the London high instead. That's probably the more near-term edge to lean against. But you can see here we probably have resistance up to the 350, 360s here before we really start thinking about a little bit of momentum to the upside. So early on here, I'm going to start off range bound. I would look to sell strength up to that 350, 360, up to the 390 rotations down. I look to buy weakness against the 530s and the 25 200s. If they start taking out the session lows, I would just stay on the short side and see how far they want to run it, because we got some range on the downside they can run this down to. So there's plenty of room to run it down to the 120s, and then the 60s down to the 24 980s, and they can certainly take that make that happen in pretty easily. So if they start taking out that London or the session lows at the 190 right now, I would just stay on the short side. Right now, to get started, I'm going to be range bound and look to see if these two support areas are going to hold. Because right now they're kind of probing, they're below the 350, 360 area, but they're not quite taking it out convincingly yet. If they start taking out the session lows right now, I would just say, okay, throw up my hands and say, yeah, okay, we're on the short side of this for now. So looking to buy against that 230s and the 190s with a little bit of caution. Looking to sell strength. This level here, I mentioned the 290s, 345s up to the 325 500, 25 400s. This will be the last level to get short against. If they take out this 340, 350s, I would be more inclined to start leaning towards the long side. But that last level to the upside could certainly be a potential short opportunity. If both of them comes out, we are staying on the long side and see if they're going to make a go out of this, because we got some range to go on Nasdaq before we are back at the highs again. But as I said, this is the congestion area we need to get past, and right now they're pretty much trading in it, backing off in the overnight weakness. And if that persists, yeah, well, then we may be back in these lower ranges again, but not going to quite expect that right now. We'll see how the market's going to develop. All right, so that's how we get started on the ES and Nasdaq. And you can see, so I only have an F5 on the ES here. Nasdaq is too crazy to try to do this on. But the two F2s are definitely fitting nicely, and a nice amount of range on the F4s as well. Finally, oops, not this one. Finally, let me switch it over to bonds. So the bond market is to the downside a bit, but still holding very much in our range. So you can see that pretty much trading here. They were up here, up against that 118.10. Looked at me and I had a shot of getting up to 119. They were probing up here, but now they're backing right back down here into that attractor area. So we are back to 117. That's your attractor. It can go either way from here. I would start off on the short side and see if they're going to take it lower. So I would look to sell strength against the 117 and 117.06s. Rotations down. Above the 117.06s, I'm taking off the short buys and just going back a range bound. So that's kind of the way I'm going to look at the bonds. Buying opportunity at the 16.25, that would be the only one I would look for. And below that one, I'm looking for rotation down here to see if they can test the 116s. So that's kind of the bond market to get started. Still very much range bound, but you can see here the Friday trading was to the downside. The overnight hasn't shown a lot of strength either. So bond market backing off a little bit from the highs. But they're right back to the attractor area in the bigger picture, and right now, unless they're going to continue right now to the downside, we're going to probably go back to more of a range-bound trading session there. But then again, so we will starting off with a slight bias to the downside and see if they can take this lower or not, but we'll see how that develops. So that's the bond market to get started. Also now I can get a nicer F4 in here from the bond market. That works pretty good, but you can see here that they're defending these upper areas to start taking it higher. A lot of selling right into it. All right, so back to the ES and the Nasdaq. Nice not having to flip the screen so many times, but it works good. So there we are, back to the ES and Nasdaq, and both of them are kind of where we left them. So news at 9:45 and 10 coming up, and nothing at 8:30. So we'll see how this whole thing shakes out. Now, I don't have my accounts selected on these guys, as you can tell on these live chart. I have a couple of other charts, scalp charts I'm using as well on the side. So you can see I'm up $16 on 6 round turns in the overnight. That's where I'm at so far. But the thing is, I can't trade the same market on 2 different charts. So either I place a trade on this chart or a different chart, but it's still looking at the same information though. Alrighty, guys, we'll leave it there, and I'll see you back at 11:30 for the next update. So good trading this first month of December. And did I mention that Christmas is less than a month away? Did I mention that? Just to stress you out a little bit. Alrighty, guys, see you back at 11:30.